So today what we are going to discuss, see, first we will discuss the point which is very important, that is properties of heuristic search algorithm. And later on we will discuss one very important topic, that is hill climbing. Because if you know hill climbing, then only you will be able to identify what are the drawbacks that we are facing. So we have already discussed what is this heuristic search. By using heuristic search and by using the function fn equal to gn and hn, we have already solved the problem of 8 puzzle, right? So now let's start with the heuristic search properties. So it is a very important question, that is heuristic search algorithm we have discussed. Now we have to discuss what are the properties associated with this heuristic search algorithm. Now see, the first property is known as admissible condition. Admissible condition means, see, an algorithm is said to be admissible if it returns optimal solution. Now, what is this optimal solution? Try to understand. Whenever we are executing an algorithm, sometimes it may happen that this algorithm may have more than one solution. Say 5, 2, 3. Say this all are the probable solution or probable answer that is coming from this algorithm. Now, the first question that should come in your mind, what kind of algorithm it is? Means either this algorithm tries to minimize something or maximize something. If it is a minimizing algorithm, then always it will pick 2, because this is the minimum result among all the available results. And this kind of result is known as optimal solution. Or else, if this algorithm is a maximizing algorithm, right? So at that point of time, we will expect that this algorithm will return 5. It means 5 is the optimal solution. So here the point is, if we are writing any heuristic search algorithm, then this algorithm should have admissible property. Means it will always return optimal solution. Means among many solutions, means among set of solutions which are the probable candidates, it will select the optimal one. So that's why I'm not mentioning that minimum solution or maximum solution. It depends on the type of algorithm for which we are designing. Right? So this is known as admissible condition. This is the first property. Now, the second property is very important. Completeness property. Now, this is something very much strange property. See, an algorithm is said to be complete if it terminates with a solution. Means if any solution exists. So here you have to understand one point. Whatever algorithm we are writing for a solution, it may happen that this algorithm may not terminate with a solution. Means we have many classes of algorithm. When we learn design analysis and algorithm, you will understand we have many classes of algorithm. Means it may be a dynamic programming algorithm, it may be a greedy algorithm. So all the algorithm, depending on their behavior, it may happen that it is not providing us a solution. So this kind of algorithm which is terminating without a solution, this algorithm is not complete. So whenever we are writing any heuristic search algorithm, either for maximization problem, minimization problem, for any activity, whenever we are writing this algorithm, we have to keep in mind for which purpose we are designing the algorithm, and if this problem has a solution, then this algorithm must return a solution. Means termination of this algorithm will result in a solution. Then only we can say that this algorithm is a complete. Means whenever we are writing heuristic search algorithm, first point is it should be admissible, means it will always results in optimal solution. And the second property that we are expecting, that it should be complete, means whenever the algorithm is terminating, it should give us a solution. Now come to the third property. It is known as dominance property. Now what is this dominance property is all about? Pay attention to this. See, if there are two admissible heuristic algorithms, say I'm using A1, the first algorithm, and A2 is the second algorithm, and both the algorithms are admissible in nature. Admissible in nature means both the algorithm, means if I execute A1, it will provide us the optimal solution, and if I execute A2, A2 will also provide us the optimal solution. So if we have two algorithms which are admissible in nature, then on these two algorithms we can explain the dominance property, right? So here you have to keep in mind, whenever you are explaining the dominance property, then you have to take minimum two algorithms, and both the algorithms should be admissible in nature. Now you can ask me one question, that is why we need minimum two algorithms for explaining dominance property. See, for calculating average height of a person, then how many person you need? For calculating average, we need minimum 2%, right? So similarly, for explaining dominance property, who will dominate which one? So for that reason, we need minimum two algorithms. So if there are two admissible heuristics algorithm A1 and A2, then algorithm A1 is having H1 as heuristic function, and algorithm A2 is having H2 as heuristic function. Right? So what is heuristic function? We have already discussed. So here we have to remember 3 points while defining dominance property. First, we minimum need two algorithms. Then both the algorithms must be admissible in nature, means both the algorithm may give us the solution, and both the algorithms must be heuristics in nature, and their heuristic functions must be defined, right? At this point of time, this A1 algorithm is said to dominate A2 algorithm if H1 is better than H2 for all values of node n. Means which algorithm is dominating which algorithm? It totally dependent on this heuristic function value. If this heuristic function value is better than this one, it means the algorithm A1 is dominating algorithm A2, right? So this is the dominance property. So if the question is asked to you on which parameter dominance property is judged, definitely the heuristic function of a certain algorithm is tested for n number of nodes. If that function is better than the other heuristic function of other algorithm, then the first algorithm is said to dominate the second algorithm. So this is the concept of dominance. If A1 and A2 is a minimizing algorithm, means these two algorithms try to minimize something. Then if these two are the associated heuristic function, then if H1 is less than H2, then we can say that A1 is dominating A2. But if A1 and A2 is a maximizing algorithm, means it tries to maximize something, then if H1 and H2 are two associated functions, heuristic functions with this algorithm, then if H1 is greater than H2, then we can say that A1 is dominating A2, right? So which one is better, we don't know. It depends on the what type of algorithm. So that's why in the definition I have mentioned that if H1 is better than H2, then only we can say that A1 is dominating A2. Better means either this one or this one. It depends on what kind of algorithm A1 and A2 is. So that's why I have mentioned, and you can tell me that, okay, how would you understand this maximum and minimum properties there? See, at the beginning, we have already considered that A1 and A2 must be admissible, means we are considering optimal solutions. Optimal means either minimizing or maximizing, right? It depends on the situation. So this definition is very much important. Now we have the fourth property of heuristic search algorithm, that is optimality property. Now, if an algorithm is complete, admissible, and dominating than other algorithms, then we can say that this algorithm will give optimal solution. Means, if I ask you this question, okay, tell me that we have one algorithm A2. Is this algorithm optimal in nature? How could you test? So your answer will be, first we have to check whether A2 is admissible or not. Means whatever solution A2 is giving, it is a optimal solution among all the solutions or not. This is the first point. If it is admissible, then check it is complete or not. Means whenever A2 is terminating, always it is giving us a solution. So now if it is complete, then you have to check the dominance property. Means you have to take reference of some other algorithm, and then you have to evaluate the heuristic function of this two algorithm, and then you have to check whether this H2 is better than H1 or not. If H2 is better than H1, then it is dominant also. So if this three property exist for a certain algorithm, then we can say that this algorithm will always give us optimal solution. Means optimality property holds for this algorithm, right? So these are the four property of heuristic search algorithms. So now what is the importance of the third property? See, whenever we are comparing something, say I am comparing that you are better. So better than whom? So there should be one reference point, right? On which we can judge. I'm taking average. Average of how many percent? This is a matter of consideration, right? So this third property is important in order to find out this algorithm, in which algorithm you are working, is better than which algorithm, right? It's a comparison kind of thing. So that's why this dominance property is important. Means whatever algorithm we are using, it is better than how many algorithms. Means which algorithms are competitive algorithm. Means heuristic algorithm does not imply that you are writing one single algorithm. There are many approach of writing heuristic algorithm. So for that reason, if we have three different kinds of heuristic search algorithm, all of the algorithm will have some evaluating heuristic function. So then at this point of time, how could you decide that which one is better? So at that point of time, if it's a heuristic algorithm, then all of the algorithm will give you a solution, means they are complete. All of the algorithm, they are giving an optimal solution, they are admissible. But how could you judge which algorithm to take? Then you have to find whatever three or four algorithms are there, among which function is better. See, there is one confusion that you have to keep in mind. See, say I'm talking about two algorithms, A1 and A2. A1 is providing complete and admissible solution. Means here whatever path we have, whatever competitive path we have, among them it is giving the best solution. So here comparison is internal. Here also it will compare all the internal solution and give us one solution. So this is the solution. Now this is your H1 and H2. Now dominance property will compare among these two solutions, these two values, right? So here the point is, comparing H1 and H2 means I am comparing two different algorithm and their heuristic functions, right? And optimal and complete means this A1 algorithm is complete and admissible when it is giving the best solution among the available alternative solutions, right? So that's why dominance property is important. So it will compare the final output of different types of heuristic algorithms. Now from this confusion, I will start one section. See, now today we will talk about one heuristic algorithm which is known as hill climbing algorithm. Pay attention to this. Now you will find why I am talking about that we have many kinds of heuristic algorithm. See, whenever I am talking that hill climbing is a heuristic algorithm, then you can think that okay, we will write steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, this kind of steps for this algorithm. No. Now, actually, hill climbing algorithm is definitely a heuristic algorithm, but we have different types of hill climbing algorithm. So, hill climbing does not imply that it is one algorithm. One hill climbing algorithm is known as simple hill climbing algorithm, and the second hill climbing algorithm is known as steepest hill climbing algorithm, or you can say that this algorithm is known as steepest ascent hill climbing algorithm. And we have third category of hill climbing algorithm, that is stochastic hill climbing algorithm. So whenever you are asked to write a hill climbing algorithm, immediately after that your question will be what kind of hill climbing algorithm should we use? It is completely dependent on the problem. See, you are writing this algorithm for solving some problem. So what type of problem it is, depending on it, you have to choose any one of the algorithm. Now first I will give you one overview. Means what do you mean by this simple hill climbing algorithm? See, this algorithm does what? It examines. It examines the neighboring nodes one by one. So whenever we are at the root node, at the next step, it will examine all the neighboring nodes one by one and select the first neighboring node which optimizes the current cost as the next node. So whichever value it is calculating by using heuristic function, say it is a cost optimization problem, so it will select the one with the optimal cost, right? So this is the concept. So what is the definition of simple hill climbing algorithm? It examines all the neighboring nodes one by one to select the first neighboring node which optimizes the current cost as the next node. Optimizes means it depends on the problem. If it is a maximization problem, it will take the maximum value. If it is a minimization problem, it will take the minimum value. So this is the simple concept. Now, what is steepest ascent hill climbing problem? See, this algorithm is a tricky algorithm. What it will do, it will first examine all the neighboring nodes and then select the node which is closest to the solution state as the next node. Now, this thing is little bit tricky, and you may find difficulty in understanding that. So I'm just telling you one concept. See, we have one tree, right? Say the aim of this algorithm is to minimize the cost, right? So whenever we are at the root, say these are the associated cost we are having. Now see, if you follow the greedy approach, means this approach, means first you will compare all the neighbors, whichever value is less you will select that. Now see what will happen. If you are selecting the minimum one, what will happen? Immediately after the next step, you are getting two values which are larger than other values, right? So following the greedy approach is not working. Means whenever you are selecting the smallest solution in every step, it does not work always. Here you have chosen the smallest one, but immediately after that, whatever values you are having, they are not better than other values, right? So for that purpose, this steepest ascent hill climbing does what? It first examines all the neighboring nodes, and then it selects the node closest to the solution state, means which path is closest to the goal state. So it will examine that path in order to explore for the next epoch or next iteration, right? So this is the concept of steepest ascent hill climbing. Now come to the stochastic approach. See, it does not examine all the neighboring nodes before deciding which node to select. Means all of these two methods will examine the neighboring nodes into different approach. But this stochastic hill climbing not at all examine all the neighboring nodes before deciding which node to select. So it does what? It just select the neighboring node at random. Means whatever value we are having, not take or pick any particular value depending on any cost or heuristic function. It will choose the node at random, and then it decides. And now this decision is based on what? This decision is based on the amount of improvement in the neighbor. Means after selecting this node, whether it is improving the cost or not to reach the goal node. If any improvement is found in this path to reach to the goal, then only it will proceed further, right? So that's why it's just select a neighbor node at random and decides whether to move to that neighbor, or it will examine another. If this path is not appropriate, no improvement is found, then it will discard this path, it will choose another path, right? So here you have to keep in mind, heuristic search algorithm is not a simple one. One of the heuristic search mechanism is known as hill climbing mechanism. This hill climbing mechanism will follow three different approach. Among them, this stochastic approach is completely different. It will not follow the policy of comparing the neighbors. It will pick any path at random, any value at random, and tries to find out the improvement towards reaching the goal. So it is taking a global view. So here, while discussing this point, I want to tell you that following greedy approach in each and every step will not work. Means whenever at each step you are taking the best solution, it does not imply that as a result globally at the end of this algorithm you will always get the best or optimal solution, right? So this is the problem that you have to keep in mind. Now you can ask me this question: why this approach, whatever approach we have discussed, we have this kind of different approaches? Try to understand. Now you have to understand one point. Pay attention to this point. You will have many questions from this. Now I will draw one state space diagram. Say this is a state space diagram for hill climbing, right? So we have x axis and we have y axis, right? And say we have this kind of implementation. See what we are going to state over here. So here, see in the x-axis, it denotes the state space, that is the state or configuration of our algorithm that we have to reach. And y-axis means what? See, I think you know what is this state space diagram. See, state space diagram means a graphical representation of the set of states of our search algorithm. Means in the search algorithm, whenever we are solving a puzzle problem, we encountered with many steps. So it will represent some set of states. Say at any point of time I am here. So these are the number of states that I am going through, but currently I am at this state. So this is the current state. Now see what are the problems we are facing. So here we have some problem. Now see what is x-axis I have defined. Now what is y-axis? See, the value of the y-axis determines the objective function corresponding to a particular state. Means, see, whenever we are designing any algorithm, this algorithm will have some objective function. Means either it is designed for maximizing problem or it is designed for minimizing problem. Accordingly, this function is designed. So this y-axis denotes the objective function, right? So now here, what is the best solution? Means which state is the best solution? Because this curve represents the states. See, the best solution will be that state space where the objective function has maximum value. So I have stated that. So whatever algorithm we have designed, this is for maximizing problem. So if this is the state in this way, whichever peak we are having over here, means this point, it is having the maximum objective function value because y-axis denotes the objective function value. So here this is the best solution. So we can say that it is a global minima. But now I am here. This is the current state. So what problem we can face? See, the first problem that we will face, it is known as local maxima. What is this local maximum? See, local maximum means it is a state which is better than its neighboring state. Means here, this state can be considered as local maxima because this peak has better objective function value than this peak. So it means local maximum means it is a state which is better than its neighbor state. However, there exists a state which is better than it. Try to understand. This state is better than its neighbor, but it is not overall better because we have one state which is better than this state. So this kind of configuration is known as local maxima, right? A state which is having better objective function value than its neighbor, but it is not the best value. We have another peak which is having the global maxima, right? So this state is better because here the value of the objective function is higher than its neighbor. So this kind of problem is known as local maximum. Means it is better than this one but not better than this one. So this is not a global minima. So always what will be our target? Whenever we are solving any problem, maximizing problem, we have to reach to the global minima, means where the objective function value is best. But if we reach to this, then we are stuck at local optima. See, this is my current state. So if I move further, I will reach to the local optima, means whatever output we are getting, it is an optimal result. Then the next step. But we have already leave the best solution. So this kind of problem is known as local maxima trap, right? Now, the second point that we have to keep in mind, what is global maximum? Global maximum means it is the best possible state in the state space diagram. So this one, because this state, the objective function value has the highest value over here. So this is known as global maximum. Now we have a strange term which is known as plateau. Plateau is also known as flat local maximum. Now, which point here we are having plateau? So you have to keep in mind. So I can tell you that this part is known as plateau or flat local maximum. Means it is a flat region. of state space where neighboring states have the same value. Here, wherever you go, all the values are flat, means same. So if you are at this step, wherever you move does not matter, always you will get the same value. Means now you are at the plateau trap. So when you proceed further in this direction, always you will get the same result, right? Now you will have another concept which is known as shoulder. Shoulder means it is a plateau that has uphill edge. This portion, see, it is a plateau, flat value, but after that you have one uphill edge. Means later on you have a chance to move forward to reach some solution. So this kind of situation is known as shoulder. Shoulder is a plateau that has an uphill edge next to it, right? And what is this current state? Try to understand. Current state means the region of the state space diagram where we are currently present during the search, right? Now we have another point which is known as ridge. Now first I will tell you the definition, then you have to answer which portion is a ridge portion. See, ridge means it is a region that is higher than its neighbor but itself has a slope. So which portion is the ridge portion in this diagram? So ridge is another name of local maxima which is better than its neighbor but immediately after that it has a slope, means very less value, right? So this is the concept of ridge. So in the first class, you asked me this question, why heuristic search will not guarantee you the solution. See, if you are in the current state like this, then you have already missed the global maxima, means the maximum objective function value is missed by you. Now you are moving towards a value which is better than the next values, but it is not the best value. It is not an optimal solution, right? So you are moving towards a trap which is a local maxima trap, right? By any chance, if you are at this situation, then whatever algorithm you are using as a heuristic algorithm, it will never give you a solution, optimal solution, right? So this is the problem of hill climbing. So here there is a confusion. If I ask you this question, local minima trap, plateau trap, is it a problem of heuristic search? No, in heuristic search they may occur. But if you are using hill climbing problem as a heuristic algorithm, then these problems may occur, right? Not all heuristic algorithm is facing this problem because first day we have solved 8 puzzle problem. It was a heuristic solution and I never fall into any of the cases. So at that point of time we can state that whatever algorithm we have used for solving 8 puzzle problem as a heuristic algorithm, it is complete, admissible and dominant. We can say that it is also optimal. But if I use hill climbing approach, then it may happen that I can fall into local maxima trap, global maxima trap, plateau or reach problem, right? So this is the problem that you have to keep in mind.